What is up, Insomniacs? Midnight Sun 518 here, back with another upgrade video for Sasha, my 2017 Tacoma TRD Pro. So today in Project Overland, we're going to be installing the MESO Customs Stealth Shift Knob, or shifter, I don't know. Thing is wild. It looks literally just like the TRD shift knob that comes stock with the Tacoma. The only difference is it adds a couple little functionality buttons on either side. And so what I'm going to do with one of them is I'm going to run my ECT, that's electronically controlled transmission power, to the knob itself, so that I can free up a spot on the dashboard for another accessory. It also gives me a second accessory button on the right side of the shift knob, because I hooked up the ECT to the left. You can do either or, it doesn't matter. But you can hook that up to a light bar, you can hook it up to your air compressor, you can hook it up to literally whatever you want to. I don't have anything yet. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. And obviously I have the SwitchPros 2, so eventually I'll figure out something to put on that. But for now, it's just kind of a blank sitting in the cables, just kind of sitting inside of the dashboard, hanging out until I have something to put on it. Anyways, yeah, super easy install, goes quick. Just takes a little bit of finesse at times. And so with that, we're going to hop right into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy. See you in a few. So my dudes, before I continue on with the install, I had to do something. So remember when I had my SwitchPros installed and I said I didn't want to use the SDHQ mount, like this portion right here, because I didn't want to have to take the dashboard apart. Well, considering that the ECT power button is now going to be going on the shift knob, the new one, I'm going to put the, where is it? No, that's just the plug. Crap. I'm going to put the puddle pod lights in here. That allows me to put my much better looking mount in place that looks more OEM than this 3D printed one that I just kind of painted up. Like, it doesn't look bad, it's really not that great, and it doesn't fit super well. Anyways, I guess you're wondering, well, how do you take the dashboard apart? So there's 4 screws, technically 3. I think I should be putting this one back in first before I put this all back together. I had to take a screw out in here that I was using as a ground, but you have one screw right here, which is a silver one, and then you have a black one to the left and a black one to the right of the bottom airbag. So 3 screws, and then these little black and red tabs, literally they just pull straight out and they pop down. So SDHQ did include in their kit 4 screws. So as you can see, I've got the, I guess that's kind of a screw, bolt, whatever, and the nut gone into the back of the SwitchPros itself, or the 8 button. Anyways, there's 4 other little holes that you can't see too well. There's one right there, and one in each corner of this SDHQ plate. And they screw into the back of this, which really you don't need, but I'm going to install them anyways. But back to the point, I can't find those screws. So instead, because you know me, I'm into all sorts of RC and that kind of stuff. These, I forget what millimeter thread they are, but just standard like RC screws. One of the 2mm head ones, and it works great. I got those 4 screws in. You can see them a little bit better now, the 2 on this side and the 2 on that side. And it's held in super well. I'm just going to plug that SwitchPros back in and then pop the panel back up into place. It does look way better. I will say I now have an empty space right here, because this is a tall switch, which the OEM stock Tacoma panel did come with a blank in this spot, so I have it, I just don't know where it is, which means it's going to be empty or at least until I can find it. So as you can see, it's literally the same as the other one. The only difference is you got the buttons and it says MESO instead of TRD, which is fine. And you can swap this plate too. I'm pretty sure it's hard to do it with one hand, but I'm pretty sure you could just pull this off. So if you wanted the TRD plates on there, you could just swap the MESO Customs TRD and it'd be fine. So to start, we'll be taking the knob off. So the boot, you literally just kind of like pull down and it pops right out of the place, and then you just twist counterclockwise, and it will eventually come off on its own. So there's that off. Literally just a big old screw. So we'll just kind of like set this to the side, and then next thing, I guess you want to have the e-brake up, because I think it makes it easier. But we're gonna open up the center console thing. I can remove my little accessory box here, set it down there, and then we lift. You can see this edge right here, kind of. So we're lifting from the back. I'm gonna have to do this with 2 hands, I'm pretty sure. Maybe. Yep, so it's just some pop clips. You can't see them too well, but you can see the red clips there. And they run all the way up down underneath here. So you pull from the back and lift it up and just kind of pull this aside. Another thing you're gonna have to do is there is a wiring harness right here on the passenger side. You push in this little tab and pull it out, and that is what's running to your selector thing for your shift. And there's what it looks like all removed. And it's a great time to detail your car if you guys want to get into these super small cracks that you can't usually do. So next we're going to have to take apart the entirety of the dash here. So to start, I think we just pull straight out on this plastic surrounding the head unit. It should just, oh yeah, look at that. Oh, I don't want to break anything. Straight out. It's just got the same red tabs going all the way around. Just kind of set that up on the dash for now. And then we can remove this whole AC thing. So I unscrewed the head unit here. So there's 4, let's see, 10mm bolts on each corner, right, of the head unit. This plastic little piece right here was resting just behind the screen, so I wasn't able to pull it out without that. So the left side is connected to the dash right here, this where those little 4 slots are, and it's hooked in. So in order to really take this entirely off, I would have to remove the left panel, which, as you probably saw in the last video, I couldn't really completely remove because I couldn't figure out how to undo this side. So I don't need to, so I'm gonna leave it looking like this, hanging out like that. So I unplugged this one plug in the back here that runs to the climate control unit, just so it's not in my way. But all we need to do really is we're gonna run our hand down inside all the wiring in the back and a little bit of finesse, just like that. Now we got the ECT button out and we can unplug that guy just like that. You got your, I'm gonna run these plugs because they're gonna be at the bottom. I'm just gonna set them down through the back here. Just kind of weave them as much as you can, easy as you can. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna come out down underneath your console area over here. So I don't know if I've fed it far enough yet, but they will pop out right down here. Give me a second. But just keep wiggling in until it comes out down here on the bottom. This guy, we can now find his cable. I just pulled it out the top here, and then we're actually going to plug this into the gray connector that came. So this is the other end of that cable that we just ran, and so we're going to plug the ECT power into this gray connector. This other side is for your accessory, so that's what that other button is on the other side of the MESO Customs stealth shift knob. I don't have an accessory for that just yet, so I'm just going to kind of leave it floating back there for now, and then whenever I come up with what I want to do, we'll plug that in later. We're still going to run the rest of the cables for it, but yeah. So let's get this plugged in. All right, guys. Well, for your information, I can't relocate this. I thought I was going to be able to, but if you look at the where is it? The side of the switch for the backup sensor monitoring, and it's the same for the parking alarms. You can see these little slots right here. Well, if you look at the ECT power, they're different. So I can't slide this button into the slot that this one belongs to because of that's there. I could shave that off, but I don't really care that much. And I've already done a quick test fit for my puddle pod light, and because it doesn't have any of those ridges on the side, it'll slide right in, no problem. So I guess I'm just gonna put them back in their spots that they were in before. Cool, so all of that is now back into place. And I know you guys didn't see me take these bolts out, but I'm gonna put these 4 bolts back in for the head unit. That is on. Now we can just gently kind of clean this off a little bit. I probably should have done that first, but just gonna kind of gently slide this guy back into place here. Work it back in. And just like that, the dash is all put back together. So next, what we're gonna have to do, the stock like shift knob position, the hole that's in there is not big enough to accommodate these tiny little plugs. So we're gonna use a good old-fashioned hole enlarger, aka a drill bit, and make it a little bit bigger. So let's do that. This is a perfect opportunity for you guys to clean your boot off real good, because once you put it back on, you're probably never going to take it off again for the rest of the life of the truck. Anyways, yeah, so as you can see in here, so this hole in the center is where the shift like lever comes up, right? But this hole in the back is where we're going to be running these cords, and obviously they don't fit. They're just barely too small. So I'm gonna get the old-fashioned probably a 3/8 drill bit and drill it out. Okay, as you can see, it fits perfectly, and I used a, you can't really focus on it, but a 15/64. That's a crazy. Anyways, that's what I used as a drill bit, because it was just barely enough to slide it through. So yeah, we're gonna go get this cables running the car. Other than the infatuous beeping, I am illuminating myself with my MESO custom lights, because I got really dark in here. I guess I'm going to wait until this beeping stops, or I'll just shut the door. Yeah, that's better. Alright, so next step, you're just going to go ahead and slide the boot back on here, right? And then this, the shifter, you can now twist into place ever so carefully. And with it all twisted in there, we can then run the cables through that slot that we made in the back. And once again, this would be easier with two hands, but I'm running a camera, so I'll be right back. You can kind of just choose which plug you want to go where. So as you can see here, the red and black is going to be your ECT power, and then the white and yellow is going to be your extra accessory, which I don't have installed. And the red and black, I mean, the plugs coming from here are universal, right? It's the same thing. It's just going to each of the buttons. I want the left button to be ECT. Why? I don't know. And I could always change that later. So anyways, I hooked the left button cable, right? The one coming out the left side, up to the red and black. And then the yellow and white I have hooked up to the right button. So yeah, with that in there, all good to go. Make sure that you guys have the plug that's right up in here that runs to for this guy, your display. Just make sure that you have that plugged in before you pop it all up. And then we're going to go in here, just kind of tuck all of our cables back out of the way. Don't worry about them too much. And then we're just going to kind of like settle this dude back down into place. Push it down. Just like that. And we can work our boot back down in here for the e-brake. A little bit effort. And then this guy, little silver cap, kind of slides right up and over. And there you go. Shifter is installed. We're going to go ahead and fire her up just to see, make sure it works. So I'll be hitting the left button here, and we're going to look up there. And there it is, look at that. ECT power, bada bing. That's awesome. And everything else up here works, right? Because we had it all plugged back in. Just making sure that the AC unit and everything goes good. Yep. Sweet. Well, I guess I'd make sure that the dang shifter works too, but either way, yeah, so that is pretty much it. I mean, there's not much else to do. I'm going to wrap up my puddle pod cable and just kind of shove it up under the mat for now, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do with that later when I actually get the puddle pods. But we do have our puddle pod switch set up right here, and then of course we have our parking and backup sensor monitoring, and everything's working good to go. Yeah. So one other thing I forgot to mention, dudes. So you have your TRD shift knob, right? And so you can swap this plate, as I already said, if you don't want to keep that MESO Customs one on there. But they also include black buttons, and so MESO Customs actually has a video out there on YouTube that shows how to take this shift knob apart so that you can swap these red buttons for the black ones. So if you like the look of the black and it's a little bit more, you know, I guess stealthy, then you're very welcome to, and they include that with the kit. I wanted to keep with the red just because I like the look of it, but yeah, so I just throw it everywhere. And with that, dudes, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. It's quite an easy install. It took a little bit of work for me, just because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have anything really to follow figuring this out, you know. I knew that the dashboard components and everything just kind of like popped out with the clips, and I've taken off a couple of things, you know. And I knew that the shift knobs just kind of unscrew, but when it comes to everything else, it took a little bit more finesse to kind of, you know, learn and see how it works. But yeah, it's really not hard. It took me about an hour to do this, and you know, you guys might end up going a bit faster or slower, you know. Obviously take it as slow as you have to get it right the first time, because you don't want to break anything or mess anything up. It does get a little bit frustrating when you're reaching your hand in the back inside of the dashboard trying to like move wires around and figure out where the heck you're pushing stuff. But if you just be patient and just kind of work through the aggravation, I promise you it's going to work out. It will fit. It will, everything will go where you want it to go, and it's going to look really good when it's done. So anyways, with that, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have any questions, please drop a comment, and I will respond in any way that I can. Yeah, that's about it. Catch you guys next go around. Midnight sign out.